Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. Welcome to this edition of Mods Worth Noting. So the wide-span vehicle system, actually quite an interesting thing. It's basically got a tractor and a harvester that is this unique configuration. I believe this is based on real-life equipment, although I've never seen it. I've used it as the thumbnail for this video, but basically it's wider implements that are able to minimize damage to the soil because they enhance productivity, but also it's obviously less passes over the field. There's some unique transport options and so forth. The tractor itself, which is the wide item, has a pretty good top speed, really high horsepower, so it's up there in the large tractor category, obviously. And then the harvester has some bins that store grain as it goes. So it's a harvester, again, without a header, and it attaches to that tractor and has a 23,000 liter capacity, and then you need the hook lift trailer to basically transport that harvester header and then ultimately get it attached. And you can see it has some recommended headers that you can use with it. This mod by Vertex Float actually could have some significant benefit, but unfortunately, since it's a script-based mod, it's PC only, but it's enhanced cruise control. So what it introduces is a couple new modes: cruise control lock and cruise control speed lock. So cruise control lock will allow the cruise control to continue driving at speed even after you leave the vehicle. So it's kind of a combination between the AI helper and the base cruise control, where as soon as you leave the vehicle, if you're not using a helper or you're not having another mod like Horseplay, your vehicle will stop. You are able to toggle on whether the function should only work on fields or not, so it will stop at the end of the row, but if you have large farms, it could be really useful and lets you run around, do a couple other things while the vehicle continues down that particular row. And then speed lock sets the maximum speed to the value set on the cruise control. So that way you're always operating at that speed regardless, for whatever reason that might become useful to you. The last item, which is intriguing, is smart cruise control. And so you can set it to auto, front, back, left, or right. And basically what you're doing is you're telling the cruise control which direction to look, and then depending on the mode, so auto will do the vehicle closest to you, the other ones look in the appropriate direction, and it will adjust the speed of the vehicle you are in, using that with, to the maximum speed of the vehicle in relation to other vehicles. So if you're doing something like, let's say, driving, and you're playing individually, especially if you're doing multiplayer and someone else is operating the other equipment, doing maybe foraging and so forth, and you've got a trailer moving along and your forage harvester just needs to dump into it, you know how challenging that can sometimes be, where you'll put the trailer, for example, on Horseplay, or you'll have someone else driving that and then you're in the harvester and you're trying to match that speed. This goes ahead and does that. Really interesting mod, and absolutely can see all kinds of uses for it for the folks that might need those features. So for those looking for a very inexpensive cultivator, $700 gets you this 4-meter wide Lizard Bolt 4M. So as many of you know, I typically don't do equipment because there's just so much of it that comes out. And a lot of it is more just personal preference of what you like to use. But I've already done the wide tractor and harvester set in this video because it was so unique. This one also has a unique feature, and it's really, again, for really large farming. So if you do that, this might be of interest to you. But this not only introduces a new large tractor, which is something I normally wouldn't cover, but it has what's called Demco Side Quest. So what that is it provides additional liquid storage tanks that you can put on your tractor, which increase your liquid fertilizer capacity to then be able to go longer without having to fill up. And while a small list, we could call this episode the Small and Mighty edition because there's some heavy hitters here. Mods definitely seem to be slowing down, which again gives me a little bit of a concern that we're seeing that impact to the modder community that I've always worried about when we get into that cycle of it's been 3 years and it's likely that Giants is going to announce the next farming simulator. So we've got FarmCon coming up in the next month or two. I'm assuming if the announcement's coming, it's going to come then. I'm probably in the minority hoping that it's not coming. You've probably seen many reasons why. There's videos out on the channel specifically about why. When I talk about what Giants can learn from other software developers that don't get into the new game cycle for time's sake rather than purpose sake. But this is one of the things that I always am concerned about is you start to get slowdowns in mods, and I think this week is a great example showing that there are still great things to be put out there, but what things might we not be seeing because people have just said, it's getting close to the end of the cycle. I don't want to work on something and then have to do it again or update it for a new version, so I'll just wait for the new version. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. We shall see. If you've enjoyed this and haven't dropped a like, please consider that. If you are not a subscriber, please consider that. And I will see you next time.